Welcome to the Tyler's Place podcast, a podcast by Freemasons for Freemasons from the House of the Temple in Washington, D.C., and brought to you by the Supreme Council of the Scottish Rite, Southern Jurisdiction, Mother Supreme Council of the World. I'm Maynard Edwards, your host here. I'm a 32nd degree Knight Commander of the Court of Honor in the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, or as we say, KCCH. Happy holidays, and I mean whatever holiday you celebrate, whether it's Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or the solstice or some holiday I'm not familiar with. I hope this is a joyous and blessed time for you and your family. If you like this podcast, make sure you check out our weekly Scottish Rite Journal podcast. Wherever you listen to podcasts, you can listen to the Scottish Rite Journal podcast. I want you to check out our great YouTube channel, and please consider joining as an archive member. We found a treasure trove of lost Masonic film, audio files, video files. I mean, we've got reel-to-reel tapes. We've got 78 RPM records. We've got 35 and 16 millimeter film. Some of this stuff is over 80 years old and has not been seen or heard in decades. And for $1.99 a month, you can help us digitize and preserve these historic assets and get access to them as they are uploaded. So if you're into Masonic history, or you just love hearing and seeing old videos and listening to that old audio come to life in that modern way, then you go check out our YouTube channel, search Scottish Rite Masons on YouTube, and click join to get all the details. You can also find the join link in the description to this podcast. This holiday season, I hope you're in a very festive spirit. And speaking of festive spirits, perhaps you're planning for a cocktail or two. You see what I did there? Spirits and cocktail. Never mind, you got it. Anyway, if you're planning on drinking a little bit responsibly, some cocktails this holiday season, have you considered some Masonically inspired cocktails? Well, Brother Fred Potenza is the senior deacon of Milford Lodge, number 344 in Pennsylvania, and he is the host of the YouTube channel Mr. Fredenza. So you can find him on YouTube as well. And he has a great YouTube video out called Top 5 Masonic Cocktails, or Top 5 Cocktails for Freemasons. And these are cocktails that are Masonically inspired. And I thought, being the holiday season, this might be a great time to talk to Brother Fred and get our listeners ready for the holiday. So Brother Fred joins us by Zoom. Let me see if I can get my Pennsylvania dialect correct here, because I grew up in Maryland, just miles from the Pennsylvania border, so I do speak Pennsylvania. You are the food and beverage manager of the Wallenpaupack Brewing Company. Did I say Wallenpaupack correctly?
Correct.
I got it. All right.
You got it.
So tell us, before we get into Masonic cocktails, and tell us about Wallenpaupack Brewing Company and you know, how you got started and what all this is.
So I got started in the restaurant industry years ago. I put myself through college at Pace University in New York by working at a restaurant, and then I loved it. I got hooked. It's one of those things you either love or hate, and I fell right into it. I loved it. Put myself through college by serving and bartending. Graduated college with a BBA in marketing and advertising, went into that field, and back in 1992, I made less in advertising than I made in the restaurant industry.
That tracks. I was in radio for a long time.
Yep.
I know exactly. There's a reason why I played in a band and was on the radio full time.
Yeah. So kind of did both for a little bit. And I got to the point where I said, I'm going to take a break. I'm just going to bartend. And I did that for what turned into be another 8 years of my life, just bartending, because I loved it. It was just, honestly, when people say the best time in your life, that I was just bartending at night. Had lived in an apartment literally a mile away from where I worked. So I was there all the time, got off, got home quick. And then 2000, I decided, I also went, you ever see the flare bottles where they throw the bottles up in the air and catch them?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I went to the World Championships in 1999.
Wow.
Yeah, I started doing that on the side. So I was with TGI Fridays, won the region, then I won the East Coast. Then I went to the Worlds for them, came in fourth, which was pretty cool just to be there in Dallas. Flip bottles in Hong Kong. I flip bottles in Disney World, stuff like that. And then I settled down into management around 2001 when I decided to get married.
Is that how you met your bride?
I did. She was she came into the bar, met her. And it just we were married for about 10 years. And actually that's how I got into YouTube. When we got divorced, I was looking for a hobby, and I always done videos. Since I was in marketing in college, I always had a camera. I'd like to be in front of the camera. I like to make people laugh. Started doing videos for fun to keep myself busy, to be honest with you. After work, And then all of a sudden I had subscribers, and now I'm at 118,000 subscribers from just doing, stuff I enjoy doing.
Well, very few people have gone broke in the business of talking and selling cocktails and spirits.
Yeah, you're right.
It's sort of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's what we call a known quantity.
And if I talk your ear off today, I apologize. I can go on rambles and rants.
You're talking to a fellow with a gift of the Irish himself, so we're in good company. So how did you get into, and I ask this question to anybody that appears on the podcast or videos, what called you to become a Freemason, and how long have you been a Mason?
September 17th, 2018. I actually had just pulled out my Bible and just to get the specific date because I was wondering. My neighbor was an elderly gentleman. His name was Frank, Vietnam vet. We're very close, very good friends, always helped him out when I could. And he got very sick. And I was always off on Sundays and Mondays. Was in the restaurant industry, the two easiest days to be off. I ended up starting to take him to his doctor's appointments because he didn't have a ride. I noticed Pike County, our local transportation for the elderly, was there a lot. So I went down and said, if you ever need anything, make your appointments on Mondays and I'll take you. So we started taking him to his appointments all through the kind of tri-state area where I live. And I'd always take him home, bring him inside, hook him up to his oxygen. And we were talking one day and there was a Masonic symbol on the wall. And I said, oh, a Masonic symbol. And he said, what do you know about the Masons? I said, pretty much what everybody else says, what I see on TV, what I see in the movies and on TV. I didn't know much about it. He said, okay, great. That was it. The next day he called me and said, why don't you come down? You want to have coffee? I said, sure. And he said he was a Mason. He introduced himself as what he did. And there's a lodge. I said, there's a lodge. I had no idea there was a lodge in town. And then we just kept talking about it a couple of days, and he asked me if I wanted to be a Mason. I said I'd love to. I was in a fraternity in college. He kind of went over what it entails, and I seemed like it was a good thing to do at the time. And now it was a great decision because I love everything about it.
You're on the path.
I'm on the path.
If all goes well, about 4 years from being master.
Yeah, exactly. I was when I was raised in 2018, literally. One of my goals is I enjoyed hearing the people talk. So I learned the opening and closing charge from my very first meeting.
Wow.
And so then that was November. And I didn't realize it was an official visit when I said, yeah, I'll do the opening charge. And then I see all these people in purple walking in. I'm like, what's going on here?
Deputy District Grand Master.
Yeah. So I did it. I was ready for it. I killed it. And then they asked me to be chaplain. So within 3 months of being a Mason, I was the chaplain.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 52 years old.
Okay, so you're not an old guy at all. So
yeah, no.
You're right in the sweet spot because now you're kind of established in your career, and these are the kind of things you want to get into doing. That's very cool, and especially cool to have a mentor like Brother Frank. It sounds like he's a tremendous fella.
Yeah, it was, and then through him, I met so many other great guys. They came and did the interview at my house, and honestly, all those gentlemen are pretty much still part of our lodge.
Yeah, that's the thing. Whenever you hear people on TV say, or your YouTube conspiracy theory, it's the secrets of Freemasonry. Yeah. The secret is the intangible. The secret, we could tell you every secret of Freemasonry and you'd probably yawn and laugh at us and think we're lying. But the secret is the relationship between like you and Brother Frank and these other guys. And that's the secret. So we couldn't tell it to you even if we could. There's no way to say it.
Yeah.
So your YouTube channel, I see a lot of top 5 drinks. How did you light upon top 5 drinks for Freemasons? And I loved the video, and obviously we'll put a link and make sure people can check it out.
So, I honestly don't go around telling people I have a YouTube channel. It's sort of funny. And then people find out. I've had people come up to me on the street. I'm getting noticed, which is kind of weird. But we were having, after one of the meetings, we were having some fellowship at one of the local establishments. Fellowship, we're air quotes fellowship. Yes, having some libations. And it came up. I was talking to the bartender who I know a lot of, since I've been in the business, I know everybody in the area. And she asked if I had done another video recently. And everybody's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, so it kind of came out. And next thing you know, I was just showing them. They were laughing. We were having a good time. And it gave me the idea, like I got inspired couple of years later to do a Masonic video because so many people ask questions. I'm always looking for new ideas for drinks, and the drinks in the video are kind of my concoction with a twist on it. So the first 2 were mine. I made them up out of the blue, and the next 3 were kind of other drinks that I incorporated into Masonry.
So in the great Masonic tradition of stealing, from other traditions. You know, every Masonic symbol we have is more or less stolen from some other tradition and repurposed. So, well, do you want to? Can you talk a little bit about the drinks themselves? I mean, we don't need to go into the full mixology of it, but I mean, some of them were real. I mean, they looked like these were. This is not for the faint of heart in terms of mixing.
And most of the drinks I make, there is a base to it that gives it. It's not a harsh drink. So when you see the,
I don't mean like the kick, because and I'll tell you, I'm a teetotaler, and it's because my family has had problems, so I just never got started. Mm-hmm. But I'm not, I'm not morally opposed. I just figure for me, it's probably best to just be the designated driver. But when you mix them, I mean, you've got these layered things, and you've got glasses inside of glasses, and
so it was that one. So when I was trying to think of the drinks. Everybody always says, "Oh, secret Mason, secret handshake." So I'm like, I knew as well as making drinks as being a good bartender and dealing with people, you have to have jokes. I know card tricks. I know little things, riddles to keep them at the bar. I don't know if you've ever gone to the bar. You see those wrought iron puzzles that are called tavern puzzles.
Yep.
So those were made during medieval times, but I mean, there were no TVs, there were no jukeboxes. So blacksmiths made something. The more you see them sit in the bar, the more you drink. That's the key. We want to keep you there. So an empty seat costs us money. So we're trying to keep the seats filled. So when you learn how to read the guest, group of people, you see them talking, you throw a riddle out at them. I mean, I also have some of my videos are top 5 bar tricks, and I have 10 of those. So there's 50 different bar tricks that you could win a drink every time because you know the answer. And they're all simple solutions. So one of the bar tricks, I kind of did that to the secret handshake where you blow it out, put your hand on top of the glass, and it creates a suction so you can turn the glass sideways without actually picking the glass up because it sticks to your hand. So I incorporated that into the drink. I'm like, that'll be pretty cool. The Blue Lodge was my favorite drink just because when I was able to balance the shot glass in the glass and then kind of keep the blue on the bottom and cascade everything else.
So that's the one where you start with like a splash of blue curacao.
Correct.
And then you put the glass inside, and it almost looks like, as you point out in the video, like a square and compass.
Yep.
Because it's a martini glass. So it's,
and that's what I was going for. Yeah.
And then you kind of drizzle the rest on top, and it looks very cool.
Yeah. So when you drizzle the rest on top, even though it's not an even seal between the shot glass and blue curacao, it doesn't mix because I know the way you could layer things. So blue curacao has a very high density. So does grenadine and all those others. So when you start mixing more coconut rums and more of the lighter liqueurs, they'll float on top of it. So when you see certain drinks like a baby Guinness, we call it because it's Kahlua, and then you float Baileys on the top. So it almost looks like a baby Guinness in a shot glass. You just have to know the densities of the alcohol, and you can do pretty much whatever you want.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it was Secret Handshake, Blue Lodge. What was next on your list?
I believe that was the Goose and Gridiron. Because when learning about Masonry, I wanted to find out more of how we got incorporated in the past. And that popped up, and I said, what a goose, Gray Goose. So that worked. That was another one I made. Gray Goose worked great. And then I said Gridiron. And I just, incorporated some other stuff into it to make it a drink. And a lot of people, honestly, even a lot of Masons in my lodge don't know what the Goose and Gridiron is. So when I did the drink, I started telling them, and I'm a new Mason, and like, what are you talking about? So, yeah,
there are a lot of folks and that is what you'll hear. And I, as a new Mason and a bartender, you probably have heard, oh, well, Mason, people shouldn't drink this, that, there's a lot of people vying for the moral high ground in Freemasonry. And, it's you kind of want to say, all right, guys, slow your roll and let's stop with our high and mightiness. Every one of these lodges got started in a bar.
Yeah, they met at the bar, and that's how they got their chapter's name, is from where they were hanging out at.
Yes.
So I know. So and now they're like, oh, I mean, it's so in Pennsylvania we're kind of strict. We're not allowed alcohol in our lodge.
Yeah.
I know in certain other lodges they actually have bars and whatnot. So we always, before the meeting ends, we ask if anybody would like to meet out for libations. And then we just go individually to a separate location. And we have 1 or 2 bars in town that we always go to. And they know third Wednesday of every month, they're staying open late because they know they're going to get, 20, 30 guys there.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of lodges, I don't know any lodge or any district that allows alcohol during meetings or actually in the lodge room outside of a ritual type presentation through Scottish Rite or York Rite or something like that. Yeah. But A lot will allow in the refreshment hall afterwards that, can have a drink or two. It kind of depends on your charter and your Grand Lodge. So, so any guys listening to this, your mileage may vary. Please consult your Grand Lodge before making any decision.
Consult your local district headquarters.
Amen to that. And do not say that Brother Fred and Brother Maynard and Brother Matt were like, yeah, they said I could have a beer. No, we didn't.
Yeah.
We did not say that. All right, so that was Goose and the Gridiron. What are the last two?
And then I did, I believe, a Masonic temple.
Right.
Was another one. And then the one after that was the Third Degree, which I thought was kind of that was the one out of all of them. The Third Degree is a gin drink.
Right.
So I like gin, but that one will knock you on your keister, to be honest with you. That gives you the Third Degree.
So how do you come up with because you've got a lot of videos that are top 5 drinks.
Yeah.
How do you come up with that? Do you take an existing recipe and switch it? Do you have your own little stash of recipes?
Yeah. So I just posted a video 2 weeks ago, Christmas cocktails. 3 of them are well-known Christmas cocktails. The other 2 are that I've created. So you kind of see another drink and I'm like, oh, that looks great. But the drink that it was called, I forget the name, they wanted Zambuca in it. And I could drink Zambuca. It's not high on my list. I don't like licorice. So I kind of took the Zambuca out. I added whipped cream vodka in, and then I called it a Blitzen, one of the deers from Santa's reindeer. And it was delicious. After I made it, I tried it. I'm like, this is going to be a winner. As
a professional bartender, as a professional in the art of mixology, what's your go-to drink for it's Friday night, you're going to go hang out with the guys Wednesday night after Lodge?
Oh, for me?
Yeah.
Personally, I'm a Jack and Ginger. I like my bourbon. So, and if I can't have Jack, if I'm feeling sassy, I'll have a Maker's Mark on the rocks. But the problem when I have drinks on the rocks, they seem to disappear too quick. So I go to the larger glass with a little more liquid in it to kind of keep me stable.
You mentioned the Christmas drinks that you came up with. All time, I'm sure it's on your list, all-time classic Christmas cocktail.
Oh, geez. So there's so many. My favorite Christmas cocktail is bourbon with eggnog. So just regular eggnog that I make it from scratch, but I put bourbon in mine. A lot of people use rum and other stuff. Just Christmas drink, bourbon, eggnog, cinnamon stick, little cinnamon on top. I could drink that all night. Okay. But if you another drink is called a peppermint patty. So you could make it 2 ways. You could do it with hot cocoa and peppermint schnapps or Rumpelmans, or you could put ice cream, peppermint schnapps, freeze it up, blend it up. You get this nice frothy drink. But those are heavy drinks. I can't do those all night. That's Christmas. New Year's, different idea, same basic. So New Year's, pretty much. Yep. Every holiday I've done, or not even non-holidays, every event that we have on our calendar, I could do a drink for. So I have top 5, I believe, New Year's champagne drinks, and I have top 5 New Year's shots. My whole videos that started, the ones that took off, my very first restaurant-related video was top 5 shots or shooters. That was it. I said, let me make the top 5 shots that I always made for guests when they came in, because people come in, they don't know what they want. So I'd say, I'll make you something. So I either made them a Bob Marley, a Baby Guinness, something like that. So that was my first video. And when it started doing well, I said, oh, I'll make another 5 and then another 5. And then when I had tons of shot videos, I said, I should do cocktails. So then I went to top 5. I made, I believe, Long Island iced tea. So all my tea drinks were the next ones. And then every time I had an idea, frozen drinks, ice cream drinks, I just made another video. And a lot of times it would just show up in my head during a shift. And I always had the camera in my car. Literally, it's a camera and a tripod is all I use. All these other YouTubers have all these big, extravagant setups. I use a camera, my computer, editing software. That's it. Just me. Now here, I mentioned earlier, I'm a teetotaler. So I walk into the Wall and Paul Pack Brewing Company. Never had a cocktail before in my life. Never had. I think I've had a couple of sips of wine at a table lodge. Yeah. And Mickey Mouse once gave me a glass of champagne in Disney World that I would have thought, since it was coming from Mickey Mouse, would have been sparkling cider, but it was champagne. So that's the extent of my alcohol consumption in my 40 plus years on Earth. I walk in and say, all right, Brother Fred, what do I try first? If you came into the brewery, I probably wouldn't start you with beer because beer is not really, even though I believe most young people start with beer because it's the easiest thing to get. I would start you off with probably a mulled wine that we make in the winter. So it's a warm wine that has cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, a little bit of apple cider in it, and then we keep it in a crock pot. And honestly, it for you, it would probably taste delicious because it'll taste like almost like a sweet grape juice. So if someone came in and said, I'm not a beer drinker, I would go right with the mulled wine. In the summer, we make slushies, or sangrias. I push you in that direction. But if you're a beer drinker, I give you top three. You get our Portpack Cream Ale, our Hawley Hefeweizen, or our Largemouth IPA. Those are our three top sellers.
So, what's next for the channel, and what's next for you as a Freemason? It's Senior Deacon, and I assume you're going to take that march to the east, which in Pennsylvania is hard.
Yep. So, go through all 8 chairs in Pennsylvania. And then my goal is to be in the east. So like you said, in about 4 years, I should be there. We all had a little hiccup during COVID. So we kept everybody kept their same offices for the 2 years that we were in there.
Yeah.
But my next step now is I'm actually working on all the guide work for when we do the degrees, because that's in our chapter, the deacons do most of the guide work.
Right.
So we're going to be learning all the guide work for this upcoming Masonic year. Yeah,
the floor work, getting them from point A to point B, getting them ambulation and all those kinds of things. And again, in Pennsylvania is one of the heaviest. Maryland is rough. You got 3 30-minute lectures that you have to do word for word from memory, and it's rough but doable. I watched a third degree in Pennsylvania about a year ago. My one lodge brother Kevin, who's a member of our lodge and the worshipful master of another lodge, watched him do this thing, and it is. The master literally does everything from start to finish in that third degree. It's like, good grief. Everything.
The amount I think he said it's over, because at the end we always say, great job, brother. And he's like, well, that's what 18,000 words will do to you.
Well, how about the channel? What's next for that? What's on your, obviously you've done Christmas, you've done New Year's. Yep. What do you have?
So I was actually, to be honest, I was speaking to last week, one of the bars that are locally I talked to, and they would love to see another New Year's video. So I was kind of working on that, trying to think of some more New Year's cocktails, because you can only drink so much champagne on New Year's. And then a lot of people do shots, but I was thinking of some other cocktails that might work with that. Probably do a top 5 New Year's cocktails, not champagne drinks. So, and that'll probably post the day after Christmas, so the 26th. So he gets a little time before New Year's. But right now, the Christmas video is doing so well, I don't even want to throw a wrench in that.
Now, and how about the bar? Are you? I'm sorry if I missed it, but are you a part owner, or are you?
So no, I have friends all over. Mm-hmm. I use a lot of different bars to do my videos because I kind of give them a little kick. So my latest videos, I've been using a couple local bars. I talk to a lot of them, and I say, hey, if I come over there, I'll shout your name out. I just need a place to do the videos, and they're like, sure. And a lot of them, it doesn't cost them anything. Doesn't cost me anything to go there, and we help each other. So I've built a relationship with a lot of the bars around here, and then we talk. They always call me for some advice, which I'm always willing to help. In this business with COVID, a lot of places didn't make it. So I'm always throwing out ideas when I'm there. I see things that they could fix, because I've been doing this for God knows forever. So I always try to help everybody out with what I know, impart knowledge, to the point where everybody says I should do it freelance. And I'm like, I don't want to freelance. I don't want to go everywhere. I have enough problems in my head with what I'm running right now, and I'm just trying to help friends out.
So are you now a professional YouTuber for the most part?
I do well with YouTube, but I call it a side gig. So, I do get paid every month from YouTube, which is great. I take all that money and I pretty much invest it. It goes into, Roth IRAs and other funds, just so I have something, hopefully when we retire, to live off of. But yeah, I enjoy it. I enjoy just honestly doing I get to the point where I almost get in fights at home, because I'll post a video and all day long I'm on my cell phone, because anytime someone leaves a message or gives me a thumbs up, I know, because I have it hooked up on my phone, and I just try to respond as much as I can, thank them. And that's the key thing. Honestly, I posted a video 10 years ago, and one of the most frequent comments is, I can't believe you're still commenting on this video and you have over 100,000 subscribers. But that's how you get more subscribers. You thank you. I appreciate good or bad. And, there's trolls out there.
Oh, yeah.
I just had one that said I had a top 5 bar tricks, which is my best video running. It's got over 7 million views. They said, yeah, these would be great for if they let 2-year-olds into a bar. So, of course, I said, hey, great. Any comments are welcome. Thank you. And thanks for watching. And then I'm so nice. I usually get I didn't mean it. You get something in return. That's because they're just trying to troll. And then when you kill them with kindness, it just backfires. Thank God for Google Translate, because I get people that will, write a comment in another language, and they're so surprised that I respond to them in their language. So yeah, I've also helped because of the Masonic cocktail video. Funny, I had a gentleman from India ask me to be a Mason. So I looked up, I said, what do you need? He said, I don't know what to do. So I found he gave me his address. This is all through internet and email. And I said, the closest lodge is this lodge. And then from last I spoke to him, he was going there, and he's been in contact with them to become a Mason.
Yeah. We've gotten a few of those. I did a video called, how to connect and join a lodge, and basically walks people through. Here's how you find a lodge in your area. Here's the process. Here's what kind of goes on behind the scenes and all that kind of stuff. And it remains one. The other one, the big one that we had that people fight over is which way you wear your Masonic ring. Do you wear it with the points out or points in? And man, people every day I get somebody, no, that's not the way it's all right. Just
wear your ring.
Yeah, it doesn't matter is the bottom line. We got to get you to come down here to the temple and do a video of some kind. Do like the top 5 Scottish Rite.
You just let me know. I'm trust me. I'm up for travel. And if you want me to do that,
have you ever seen the house?
Have
you ever seen the House of the Temple or any pictures of it?
I have never seen it, to be honest with you.
Google House of the Temple. It is a 200-foot tall, more or less, pyramid in the middle of Washington, D.C., about a mile from the back door of the White House. And wow. Are you a Scottish Rite Mason?
I am not.
We can fix that too.
Yeah.
We have friends in low places who can make that happen. That's Brother Fred Potenza. He's the senior deacon of Milford Lodge, number 344 in Milford, Pennsylvania. Host of the YouTube channel, Mr. Fredenza. I'll spell it. It's MrFredEnza. Mr. Fred Enza. Easy to spell just like it sounds, Mr. Fred Enza. And he's got some great videos on cocktails and bar tricks and all the stuff we were just talking about. So hopefully you'll check out his YouTube channel, check out a few of those videos, and maybe you'll find a cocktail that you can enjoy over this holiday. I hope this holiday is a blessed and happy one for you and your family. That is going to wrap up the Tyler's Place podcast for December 2022. And in fact, it'll wrap it up for all of 2022. From the House of the Temple in Washington, D.C., I'm Maynard Edwards, 32nd Degree, KCCH. The Tyler's Place podcast is brought to you by the Supreme Council of the Scottish Rite, Southern Jurisdiction for the United States of America, Mother Supreme Council of the world. And on behalf of all of us at the House of the Temple, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, and we'll catch you in 2023. Don't forget, if you're interested in becoming a Freemason, visit beafreemason.org online, and you can connect with a lodge in your area to become a Freemason in your hometown. Also, if you've got questions, comments, ideas, you can always email us, podcast@scottishrite.org. We'll catch you next time right here on the Tyler's Place.